Welcome everyone to my TicTacToe game. Ooh, here we go. It's got the UI over here and the main file right there, and a bunch of images right there. Right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play it first and show you around what it does. Right. So the first thing that it does is gonna welcome you with some kind of drawing, just laying out the ground, right, and it also got my label right there, your gardener, right. So you can play for this one. I made it automatic that it plays the computer against you, right? But initially, you could just let it play you against it. Um, so I'm gonna show you around. I'm gonna click over here. You can tell that it actually closed me out, and then it's gonna score here. So I'm gonna close it there as well, and it also closed me out over there. So I'm gonna click over here, and then it closed me there, and I'm gonna win. Look at that. Pa! I won! Yeah, did it. Okay, so initially you thought it was really clever, right? But it was all random. I didn't put the logic behind that, so that's the reason why you could see that I was playing like that. And if you notice, when the match ended, there was a lady holding the heart at the end there. That's the winning signal, right? I'm gonna try and draw this time, right? So I'm not gonna win. I'm just gonna try and draw so that you can see the other way around. I don't know if that's gonna be possible because it's making all the funny choices not possible, because I'm only left with this one and I'm gonna win again. Alright, let's try again. I'm gonna show you around all the three versions of it, alright? So I didn't put the logic, like if one of these is after this, then you have to do that, because I actually used more time trying to get the layouts and everything. Um, Okay, so you see, it's pretty random. It can be wise sometimes, but it's actually rather pretty random. It's gonna make me win again. Okay, let's try one last time. I hope this time it will be a little more clever, right? Um, okay, and as you can tell, this is the winning logic that's running out right here under the hood, right? So one last time, and then we explain what exactly is happening. I shouldn't have picked that. Maybe. Okay, I'm just trying to avoid picking in the middle so that it has more chances. Okay, if I pick up over here, oh lovely, there we go, we have a draw now. So when you have a draw, you're gonna draw this little big heart that says, it's a draw, right? Okay, wonderful. And then one last match, I'm gonna lose this time, right? So that you see what happens when I lose. Let's run it one more time. Just gonna give it a moment to draw the board for us. So one of the things that you notice is that it's not following up the rules of this whole picture, right? It's actually drawing the game in the center, and it's bringing everything right out in the center. That's where the much of the coding went. Okay, so here I'm going to try and lose, right? So that means I'm going to leave it in the center. I'm going to come right over here so that it can win, right? There it goes, it wins. It thought very well, and I got a heartbreak. Okay, there you go, lovely. So that's what the game does. It shows that I lost this time around. So let's go through the code and see what really is going on under the hood, right? Initially, we're just gonna much of the code went to the UI, right? So you will notice that we have the board, PNG and G4, right? So apparently TK-inter is what I use. Not rather, sorry, Tato is what I use. I didn't use TK-inter, as you can tell. It's just Tato. So in order to use Tato with images, you gotta have them formatted as GIFs. So that's what I use right over here. And you notice that I was using a pencil instead of that normal Tato and other stuff. This is what you do. You say edge shape, and then you point to the Tato. And then when you're running it, you say okay, pen dot no, that's not it, over here, pen dot shape, and then you highlight it like that. Alright, so initially you just call the edge shape, and then when you run in pen dot shape, you'll assign it to that item again. So you saw the lines are slightly thicker. This is the pen size, and then you get the pen up. The first thing that we do is you write the label. What's the label? It's right over here. It has to hide and go to the corner, and it just writes here your garden using the given fonts and stuff, right? Nothing fancy there. And then after writing the label, it just creates the table, and they start drawing the lines. So you see the horizontal lines and the other lines coming through. Okay, so let's go to draw lines, which is right over draw lines. draw lines. We're looking for it. Okay, here it is. So the first thing that it does is it just draw set position. It goes to vertical number 1 and it draw the vertical line. Go to vertical number 2, draw the vertical line. Draw to horizontal number 1, draw the horizontal one. Horizontal number 2, draw the horizontal one. So here is vertical number 1. It's a position where it starts from the board, and this is the second line on the vertical side, alright? And then it goes to the horizontal one and does the same, alright? So the drawing method is just go from here, turn this way, go from there for this length. Okay, it does that for both the lines, so I didn't have to write the code twice, and it does the same for the horizontal lines, so I didn't have to write the code twice again, but I have to say that twice, which is very silly, right? I should have just said it once. And through it all, everything that will be happening is that this is the magic method, right? On screen, click, and then that's where everything will be happening, because it will be listening. Where do you click? All right, so when you click anywhere, it then calls up this method, which is logic, right? And I forgot the rest of the stuff what it was, but I had to play around with a lot of stuff to figure out which way method was going to be the one to go with. Okay, and this one kind of worked well for me. So logic is actually a function that I created myself, which is over here, right? And what it does is on screen, it just kind of sends you the coordinates, right? So they're just given to you just by coding on screen, and then the method that you want, they give you their coordinates. So I just said to plug them in, and what do I do with those coordinates? I kind of work through my boxes, right? Like I have the boxes that are made from the UI, and I want to see where does each of those box ends. So it has both the up, down, left, right, side, right? So that's what all these boxes have, even though they're imaginary. I can just distinguish, like I'm limiting you to this part and to this part and that part and that part. So this middle part is my box number 1, which is here, box number 1. The other part, I do the same, I continue with all the 9 boxes. So that's what I have over here. You see second row, 1, 2, 3 boxes. Third row, which is the last one, 1, 2, 3 boxes, right? So they have their numbers. We're counting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, is that what we're doing, or we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I think we're doing this way, because we're picking number 1, second row we're picking number 2, and then number 3 over here. Alright, so that's what we're doing. Okay, and after we do that, what do? It's actually calling a function which is called play. Okay, and play is where the magic happens, right? In terms of the game located on the row, it takes in the box number, and then it imports all this stuff: player, box, game on, and winner. So these stuff are up over here. Player number 1, box is just an array, and then game on, true, and winner none. That's where we start from, right? And then these things can change inside this method, right? If winner is equal to none, then is not equal to none rather, then start animation, right? But winner is none at the moment, so we don't do any animation, right? If game is on, and game is on at the moment, so what do? We check, is player number 1? Yes, it is. And then we give him the P. So player number 1 is using the zeros, right? So if you notice, if I am here and I want to click the first thing that's going to come is 0. And player number 2 is the X. So what happens is, after I click, if it's player number 1, this is already set up for me. This could be changed, right? So I left it like this, even though it kind of sounds repetitive to have it separated. But I thought you can customize it the way you like. And then what we do is, because we're working with an array, right? Here we have our grid right at the top. Okay, right here we have our grids. And what are these? These are like coordinates of each and every one of those boxes, right? We kind of set up their limits right here at the bottom. This is where it ends. But right over here is where the grids are. Like, okay, in this side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's where we're going. So because it's set up as an array or a list, we have to subtract 1 so that we get to the correct index. So that's what we're doing over here. Where is it? Okay, a little bit down over here, right? So we subtracting 0 so that we get the grid. So we now have a new box number, right? If box is not in boxes, do you remember boxes? It's a list which is empty, right? Right here at the top, very, very top right here. That's where boxes is. So what we'll be doing is, if we add the number, or if we mark a box, right, we add it into that list. So if it's not in that list, then we go ahead and do this. If otherwise it's on that list, we just pass, right? I was doing when I was coding it out, I could print. Like, you cannot do that, so that I know, okay, it's already, you do not click already clicked button, right? So that's the logic there. But otherwise, if the box is not in that list, then you can go ahead and append it. Well, this is the first thing that you do, and you go to that box, and you remember box is what we have here. They are all a bunch of coordinates. Where are they? Up, down, okay, over here. There are a bunch of coordinates, so you can actually set your pen to go there, and that's what happens here. Go to there, and then you get the color from the user, right? If it's player number 1, the color is white. If the player number 2, the color is red. And then the piece, of course, is also from there. It's 0 for rather letter O for for player 1, letter X for player 2. So this changes. It just depends with who. And then I set up my font like that. And now we call in a method or function called mark point, and we also subtract the number. Actually didn't have to subtract it over here because we already subtracted it up here. So this was actually a coding error. But since we did it, I kind of noticed that this is actually an error later on when I came up over here. Hold on, my dog is barking very loud. I'm just gonna give it 5 seconds. I think it'll be done. But meantime, I'm gonna come and try and scroll down for you over here, right? So this is the box number, and you notice we start adding that number back again because we had subtracted it twice. We were not supposed to do that, and my code wasn't functioning, and then I realized I just had to add it there. But when I'm going through it now, I realized, okay, that's where the error was, right? I shouldn't have subtracted it twice, otherwise I wouldn't have added this code over here. Okay, so then and then we pass the pieces, so because remember we have x and 0, so we need to know which one is the one we want to mark. But in order to mark it over here, remember, by doing this over here, right, something over there, it's already done for us, right? Just the moment when I click like this, it's already done. This is done. But this is behind the scenes, which is happening in the main file, right? Over here, what we have is we have these rows, right? 1 all the way to 9. Okay, this we no longer need. The reason why we have these rows is because we want to avoid that's the logic we have, right? These numbers are just like placeholders. Yeah, otherwise, if we start working through our stuff, we're gonna have we're having these exceptions or errors where, you know, what you have picked. For example, in this case, if you were to say, okay, we want to compare whether we want to check if you have 1, right? Let me just click one more over here because I don't want to win right away. Right? And you see, this logic starts coming up over here, right? And it loops through all of these to check if you won, right? So if it is like here where it's 2, and then here it has 3, and here it got 1, and then it starts coming this way, and then it starts doing the crisscrosses to check whether there is a series of similar items, right? It might end up with if we say 0 0 right now, we will end up with an error of index out of range, right? And that's what we were trying to handle over here. But the quick way, which was a very sweet way to fix it, was just creating these rows as a placeholder. If you notice just now, I have undone this part, which was like creating these rows in one row, which is also very beautiful, I thought. But anyway, I was trying to work through the problem stages, which is we notice that there are some kind of insets and stuff and commented out code. But here's the thing that you need to take note of. We take in the box. This is actually the box number, right? So it's no longer like that one which we agreed, right? We are passing in the box number. Let's go back here, box number less 1, right? So I think I should also do a good naming if I just called it box number over here. And if the box number is less than 1, we are dealing with the first row. If the box number is after, or rather greater than 3, but less than 7, we're dealing with 4, 5, 6, right? So these numbers are very good. They're kind of good mnemonic as well. Greater than 6, that's 7. Less than 10, all the way to 9. So that's our last row right there. So we want to keep it. Remember, we have 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. That's all we have. But up here, when we click in all the boxes, they are numbered like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And that numbering happens over here, where we initially passed in them. Box number is 3, box number is 9, box number is like that, right? So when we come down here, we work with those numbers, but our lists are limited to 0, 1, 2. So what do? On the first row, we subtract. How many do we subtract in the first row? Just 1, right? So if it's 1, the index will be 0. If it's 2, the index will be 1. If it's 3, the index will be 2, and that's it. If it gets to 4, then we are dealing with the second row. It comes down here, and now because we have 0, 1, 2, but our initial number is 4, so we have to less 3, right? So that's what we start doing. I don't know why we less than 4. Oh, because of adding 1 here. Okay, because we added 1 here, and now we less than 4. Yeah, that was a bit of a mix up that I did initially. Otherwise, I shouldn't have done that. But anyway, you get the point. We do the same for the last row, and now we have all our rows filled up, or at least some of them filled up, right? Because remember, we're not checking the numbers every time. Okay, let's do that. We have done the marking. Let's look at the next thing that comes, which is over here. We are in the play function, and we're right here, and now we're gonna check winner. So check winner is actually up here. Check winner is up here. All right, there it is. Again, it takes two global variables, game on and winner, right? So if the length of the boxes is 9, you remember boxes is actually the one of these that we put up over here. So if any number is clicked, right? For example, right now we've clicked 0, 1, 2, we've clicked, I think this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Those numbers are already there in the boxes, so you can't click them. But if you have filled all this stuff, let's say for example, oh man, look at that. I can win it by just clicking anywhere. But anyway, bad example. We'll try and run again. If it was a draw, then it was gonna just say, okay, if all the boxes were filled up, right, it was gonna say, okay, that's a draw, which is, let's come down again. I think we should come down a little more. Okay, there we go. Game on is named force, and the winner is named draw, right? So that's the winner right there. And then that's very important to take note of. We're still checking the winner. If the boxes, the length of the box is function is less than a 9, all right, we're gonna check, is it at least greater than 4. Why are we saying greater than 4? Because remember we have 2 players, right? If we do this and do this over there, and maybe this 1, 2, 3, 4, right? In right here, right at the moment where we have 4 pieces, right? No one can win because it will be 2 each. But the moment we start having at least more than 4, we could have a winner right away. Okay, so that's where it starts checking. Okay, so you notice that we would have some text output right here in the run terminal right over there. When the moment I click over here, you see it starts evaluating, right? Are you a winner? Are you not a winner, right? So it starts printing out everything, and I'm not getting an error because some of the numbers are still there. You see, so where there's no marker, the number comes back. The number comes back. The number comes back like that. Okay, so that's how we're winning, or that's how we're getting our way with this. Awesome. Now, now that we have explained that, let's go back and say, okay, so after 4, we're checking, all right, you're giving them pieces, right? We start to check, why are we passing the pieces? Because each player is a different piece, right? So if player, remember we're passing the player right at the top, right? If the player, and the players are numbers as well, and the reason why we're subtracting 1 here is because we're dealing with another list, so we have 0 and 1. So if player number 1, he takes the 0 part. If player number 2, he takes the x part. So we just do play pieces dot pieces 0, pieces 1. Okay, and so we call in the get winner method, and the get winner method is coming from the main class. I'm going to show it to you. Get winner, this one right here. It takes in the player and the pieces. It no longer needs the pieces. I was using it just to print, because initially it was just a text kind of thing, like where you say, okay, the winner is this player of this piece, right? So you kind of say player number 1 of 0, or right, of the letter O, or player 2 of the letter X, something like that. But now I'm just taking the player. I think that's what I'm using. So what is it that we do when we're getting the winner, right? Remember, we have our rows, which are pretty much what we're printing out over here. We take 3 of them, we put them into one multi-dimensional array, or one dimensional list. Okay, and then we put up a range. The range was from 1 to 5. The reason why we put in that range from 1 to 5 is because, remember, you can win by, number 1, having your markers are similar on one line like this. So we have 1, 2, 3 lines where if you fill them like that, you can win. But apart from these lines, we also have other lines like 1, 2, 3, right? Which you can also win if your items are in that order, right? And apart from those three, we also have another one, which is this one, 4, and this one, 5. Okay, so that's what explains this range here, which is 1 to 5. 6 is left out if you're using the range function, by the way. So what is it that we do in there? We do a try. We no longer need a try for now because we've already kind of filled it up. But initially, when it wasn't filled up, then you could have, for example, in this instance, you would have x, and this will be an index out of array, because this one will be pushed to this one, and then the last one will be empty. In fact, for all of these, the last ones will be empty because it won't consider this gap. So in that case, you're going to have an index out of range array, rather exception, right? But now what we're doing is we no longer need that because we have the numbers as our placeholders. So each of these rows, if you see here, we're calling the function addRow, and we're passing in the row. Okay, we're passing in this. We continue passing it over there because it's kind of where the factory, right, where we're getting all the other rows made up from, and we're passing in the range as well. So if we're starting from number 1, we come over here. We say if our iteration is the first one, return these rows. So we kind of come here. We take this part and we go on this one. We take that part and we get that only. We take that part. What it basically does is it says take this part, which goes down like this, and take this part which goes down like this, take this part which goes down like this, and then finally take one which crosses over and one which crosses over. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what this is what it's doing. If it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 4, if it's 5. So it does that, and it adds all those lists to these rows, right? So when we finish, we now have 5 plus 3 rows, and then we loop through them, each and every one of those rows, and this is the winning logic. We want to check if there are 3 items in that row, which is very good, right? Because we need to make sure that we are not comparing stuff that are not full. Why is that very important? Because the winning logic that we have is a tricky one. Okay, so this is the line that's printing out everything. In case you're wondering, where is the print out coming from? This is the line that determines the winner. Okay, it's like the length of the row passed in as a set. Okay, so generally what happens with the set is if I say I'm gonna say list is equal to k and maybe l, right? And if I do length of set li, I'm gonna get it 2, right? And this is the same length that I will get. But if I do, okay, just watch, I'm gonna add another L, and if I do set, again I'm getting 2, right? Just watch, I'm gonna add another one. I'm gonna add another L, right? And I do another set, I still get 2. So basically what sets does is it looks for unique items, right? Sets just takes in unique items. So I'm passing in this list into a set, and if they are just simple, similar stuff, like for example, if they are 0, 0, 0, I will get 1. I'm getting 2 because there is a K in an L that's filling up the whole space. So basically, that's what we're doing here. That's how we're determining the winner. So if it comes down here, it looks at this row, it checks there's no winner, it checks this one no winner, it checks this one no winner because there are no triple X. But if you were to check just these 2, right, it was gonna say yes, we have a winner because the answer has to be 1. That's why we're doing a check whether it's the length of the row is 3 first, right? So we won't check these ones which are incomplete. So in this case, I'm just gonna come down here and I'm gonna block it. Ha! I'm cruel like that. So this is gonna end up as a draw. Oh no, I won it. Look at that. Amazing. How did I win? Oh, on the last row. Cool. He gave it the game to me. Wonderful. Ah, lovely. Look at that. We're winning the game. We got in the game and winning it. Alright, cool. So when that happens, just return the player, right? If that doesn't happen, like we don't have anything on the get winner, and we run all the way here, we just return none. So the winner will remain none, right? So that's what it does over there. Let's go back to where we were. Where are we? Okay, good. Thank you for following up on GitHub. You can watch the code as well. Okay, so there we were. That's what we were doing. We're checking the winner. And then we changed the player from player 1 and passed the button to player number 2. If it was player 2 playing, we also change the player to player number 1. All right, that's what we do. So now when we change it to player number 2, we kind of automate the computer choice. And these ones are random and devoid of logic for now, because anyway, we're not getting paid to code this game, right? But if we're getting paid to get this game, we're gonna like sort of code it in a way that is it still there? No, it's gone. Let's run it again. We would code it. Actually, it's not the one that's running, right? It's kind of bringing up back this. Okay, it's gonna pop back up very soon. There it is. My label in the corner. The lines coming down. I kind of like that animation too. Like making the ground out for you. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm just scratching my eyes really, so I had to take off my specs. Excuse me. I also need some honey too, because my hair, I feel my throat getting a little quirky. Anyway, so here we have peak. This is a boolean item which tells the computer, okay, you can go ahead and peek. Alright, if game is not false, rather if game on is false, right? For example, the player just won, and the code will continue to run. So we want to tell the computer, okay, the game is already won, you can't peek anymore. Right, but while it's allowed to peek, this is what it's going to do. It's just going to pick a random box. So this is actually a function which is up over here. Pick a random box. It doesn't do much. It's right over here. Just return a random choice from 1 to 10, right? So that's a range function. And remember, we use range again before we said range. We'll leave out the last number, so I don't need to print that out for you, since we already covered that part. Okay, and I was also trying to print out the computer choice in the past. But now, what we're doing is, remember, in our past, we were picking this, right? And that's our box, right? And it passes on that number. It was also being taken from the grid, which is like the coordinates. So the computer does the kind of same thing. It takes that number and lessens it over here, and it goes pick up the coordinates. And then we check if that's not already picked, right, by the person, right? If it's not in the boxes, then that's fine. Okay, if it's not in the boxes, peak is equal to false, right? Because remember, this is continue picking. As long as it's in the box, continue picking. But if it's not in the box, then peak is equal to false. Stop picking, right? And then play. So play is simply this same function that it calls itself. So it comes back here with the number that is picked, and the whole process continues, right? Okay, so when play is done and the player is no longer none, like for example, we play and then we find the winner, then we do the animation, right? So let's come down here. We say here we check for the winner, and then we check this is a draw, and if it's not a draw, we come here and we see a winner, and the winner is no longer none, then the game will be false. If the winner, if the game is game on is no longer true, then you also animate the winner. So you could animate the winner at number 1, a draw, or you could animate the winner at either player 1 or player 2, right? Because this one, the get winner method is returning that player back to you, which is right over here, return the player, which is the same number that you passed. So it could be 0 or 1 or 2. So pretty much that's everything that's happening that's in this code, right? I'm gonna say cancel and show it again to you. So you can allow me to peek and look at that. Then I'm going to come over here so that it kind of makes it that way. And I'm going to come over here. Look at that. It just made me win. Yay! We won, and it has a big heart for us. Okay, wonderful game. Good kind of logic coming through. So here, you see this is the winning item. Where it sort of checks through here. We have two items, and let's see where we have 3. Over here we have 3 different ones. Here we have one same item, so that's the winner right there. Okay, so that's pretty much what's happening in this game. So I hope you had fun coding it. How would you have coded it? Or maybe you could also share something that we could improve, or how you coded it. It will be interesting to see how you guys did it, right? So, but otherwise, that also how I did it for myself. So I hope you had fun. Ooh, there's one thing that I left out, right? The animation, right? How is it that I'm doing all the animations? Okay, so let's look at that. Animations, I'm doing them over here. There's a function that I coded out for that, which is right here. So you take the winner. If it's player number one, we do the woman heart, right? So we're just changing the background right there, nothing fancy. If it's player number two, we're drawing the heart, and then we breaking it. So this is the breaking the heart part where it kind of goes forward and back, like doing all the zigzag. It has a little bit of more contribution. Go forward, go that. And then if it's a draw, we just draw the heart and don't break it in any way, right? It just stay the same. Okay. So I know you guys want to see me play one more time, so I'm gonna do that for you. Okay, your request has been granted. Okay. So we're gonna play No Mercy this time, alright? No Mercy this time. Oh wow, look at that. It's kind of coming back with that, but it kind of give me this one. I guess gonna win if I wanted to, but I'm gonna show it some little mercy, and then I'm gonna leave the center one for it. Let's see which one it's gonna pick. It's silly, right? Okay, I'm the winner. Awesome. Okay, guys, let's log off, right? Let's talk some more on WhatsApp, on our WhatsApp group. If you're not on our WhatsApp group, just drop your number in the comment below, and we're gonna add you to the WhatsApp group, right? If you haven't enrolled in one of these courses from Dr. Angela Yu on Udemy, please go ahead and do that. I think we need to support her. She's doing a wonderful job teaching nicely. Okay, apart from that, I'm also gonna drop in my other what you call it social media handles so that you can also link up with me. All right. Adios, amigos y amigas.